All right, let's jump into this deep dive, shall we? Today, we're tackling survival skills.
Survival skill.
You got it. And we're taking inspiration from this YouTube video that you guys sent in.
Oh, yeah, this one looks pretty cool.
It is. It really breaks things down. Like how to survive if you're ever in a sticky situation.
Hopefully none of our listeners find themselves in a sticky situation like that.
Hopefully not. But, it's always good to be prepared, right?
Absolutely. Knowledge is power.
Exactly. And speaking of knowledge, this video jumps right into the most important thing, water.
Water.
Yep, finding water. The video's like, forget everything else. If you don't have water, you're in trouble.
Well, they're not wrong. Water is pretty essential.
Okay, but why is it so important? I mean, obviously we need it to stay hydrated, but what happens if we don't have it?
Think of it this way. Your body needs water for everything. Literally every single function.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Regulating your temperature, keeping your organs functioning, even helping your brain work properly.
Wow, I never really thought about it like that.
It's easy to take water for granted until you don't have it. You can go weeks without food, but only a few days without water.
That's a scary thought.
Yeah.
So let's say you're out in the wilderness and you need to find water. Where do you even start?
Well, the most obvious places would be rivers, streams, even springs.
Right.
But here's the catch. You can't just assume that any water you find is safe to drink.
But
Even if it looks crystal clear, it could be full of nasty bacteria or parasites.
what do you do?
You need to purify it. And one way to do that is by filtering it.
Filtering.
Yeah. You can create a simple filter using layers of cloth, charcoal, and sand in like a container or something.
Oh, that's a neat trick. I'm writing that down.
It's a good one to remember.
Okay, so we've got our water situation figured out. What's next?
Shelter.
Shelter. This video talks about building a shelter from natural materials, which, to be honest, sounds a little intimidating.
I can see why you'd say that, but it doesn't have to be complicated.
No.
You can start with something simple, like a lean-to.
A lean-to.
Yeah. Basically, you find a sturdy log or rock face and lean long branches against it to create a slanted roof.
Kind of like a makeshift tent.
Exactly. And then you can weave smaller branches and leaves through the gaps to insulate it and protect yourself from the wind and rain.
I see. So it's more about creating a barrier between you and the elements.
Precisely. You're creating your own little microclimate.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got water, we've got shelter. What about first aid?
Oh, that's another crucial one.
Our video mentions it too, and I think it's especially important in a survival situation because even a small injury could become serious.
Exactly. You don't have access to a doctor or a hospital, so you need to be able to take care of yourself.
Like what if you get a cut or a burn?
Well, for those kinds of injuries, you'd want to have bandages, antiseptic wipes, antibiotic ointment.
Okay.
Those are the basics, but knowing how to use them properly is just as important.
You're right. A first aid kit is useless if you don't know what to do with it.
Right, so maybe brushing up on some basic first aid skills wouldn't be a bad idea for anyone, even if you're not planning on venturing into the wilderness.
Good point. Now let's talk about something that always seems so essential to survival stories, fire.
Fire.
Yeah, this video actually talks about starting a fire without matches, which to me is like the ultimate survival skill.
Well, it's definitely one of the more challenging ones.
Have you ever tried it?
Oh, many times.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, it's not as easy as it looks in the movies.
I bet. So what's the secret?
Well, first you need the right tinder, dry, fluffy material like birch bark pine needles or even cotton balls soaked in petroleum jelly.
Interesting. I never thought about using cotton balls.
It works like a charm. And then you need to know how to use different fire starting techniques like a fire bow or a hand drill.
Wow, so there's a lot more to it than just rubbing two sticks together.
Oh yeah, there's definitely a technique to it.
So we've covered water, shelter, first aid, and fire. These seem like the 4 cornerstones of survival.
I'd say so, at least according to our video.
Of course, there's always more to learn, but this is a great foundation.
Definitely, it gives you a starting point.
Now, here's something for our listeners to think about. What are some natural resources that you have available to you right now?
Yeah. Like in your own backyard or even in a local park.
Could you build a basic shelter? Start a fire without matches?
It's fun to think about.
It is. It's all about being resourceful and using what you have around you to your advantage. That's what survival's all about, right?
Absolutely.
Well, on that note, I think we've covered a lot of ground today.
We have, and hopefully inspired our listeners to learn a little bit more about survival skills.
Definitely. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive.
It was my pleasure.
And to our listeners, stay curious, stay safe, and we'll see you next time.
See you next time.
Bye.